On Larry King Now, I welcome back skateboarding icon Tony Hawk.
When I found skating, I found that every time I went there, I got better at it, and then I could do it at my own pace. I like the sense of identity I got from it, and the self-confidence it gave me as a youngster, like when I was 9, 10 years old.
Did you ever think skateboarding would reach the levels it's reached?
Never. I mean, people ask me all the time, is this, was this your dream? And I thought, this dream didn't exist. I couldn't have dreamt this.
All right, the 2020 games are in Tokyo. Skateboarding is coming to the games.
It's about time. I feel like skateboarding has come of age. It is way more popular with youth than most Summer Olympic sports.
Plus, what do you see when you're spinning through a 900?
You're just looking for the landing zone. That's all you're looking for. And sometimes it comes up slower than you anticipate, and those are the ones that go wrong.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Skateboarding legend, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, the great Tony Hawk is widely credited for bringing skateboarding into mainstream sporting culture. He is, of course, the first boarder in history to land the 900 trick, one of his sport's most demanding maneuvers. His businesses include the hugely popular Tony Hawk video gaming franchise, Birdhouse Skateboards, Hawk Clothing, and the Ride Channel. And he's now focusing much of his time on the Tony Hawk Foundation, which has donated more than $4 million to build over 500 skate parks in low-income areas across the United States. Good to have you back, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
Always good to see you. So what happened with this Larry David costume? You made yourself, what was a party?
We have an annual Halloween party, and I try to do something significant with my costume in terms of, making some effort into it. And I love Larry David, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I knew it was coming back for a 9th season, so I just had the idea, like, let's do Larry David, and called a makeup artist and took about 3 hours with her and her assistant. And
you do it at your home?
Did it at my house, yeah.
Where do you live?
In San Diego, in Encinitas.
Does Larry David know about this?
I think so. I am semi-friends with his daughter on Instagram, so I sent her the photo, and she said, I can't wait to show him. So I'm hoping it got to him. But,
well, we're showing it here now.
Oh, thanks.
I'm sure you'll hear from him. I bet you'd love to go on that show, right?
That would be, I think that would be the ultimate dream cameo. Yes, absolutely.
How often do you skate? How old are you now, 48?
48, yeah.
You skate?
Still skate, yeah, at least 3 or 4 times a week. Still out there doing exhibitions in public and things. I can still do most of my tricks, so I feel like I'm still relevant in terms of being on display. And it's still the most fun I can have, being active.
You still enjoy it?
I love it, yeah, absolutely.
Break it down for me. You completed your legendary 900 trick for your own video channel, right? The Ride Channel.
Yeah.
What is the Ride Channel?
It's a YouTube channel with skate content that we have been running for the last 4 years now. And, it's mostly skate-centric, but I've been, like I said, I've been skating a lot, and I felt like I could possibly do another 900 and chose the day of the anniversary, 17 years after doing it, and it was a battle, but it worked.
Huh. Do other skaters do it?
A few, yeah. I'd say there's about a dozen people who've done it now, and a couple that have done 1080s.
What is the 900?
900 is 2.5 spins in midair, like a 2.5 somersault on a skateboard, coming up one side of the ramp, spinning, and then coming back down the same side.
Did you invent it?
I was the first to do it. The guy who first started it was Danny Way. He first started trying it and getting close, and he's the one who opened the door for the rest of us.
Why is it called the 900?
That's the degrees of rotation. So we got 180, 360.
How many times did you fall before you did it?
Years. Literally a good 5 years of active pursuit, trying to do it.
Would it be impossible now at your age?
I just did it in June.
You did it?
Yeah, that's what you were speaking of on the Ride Channel.
Oh, that was recent.
That was recent, yeah. 17 years to the date of doing it.
Is there any trick you tried you couldn't do?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, absolutely. I tried to do a 720, which is a double spin, without grabbing my skateboard, and I could never figure out how to keep the skateboard on my feet that far.
What attracted you to this unusual sport?
I like the sense of identity I got from it and the self-confidence it gave me as a youngster. Like when I was 9, 10 years old, I liked playing sports, but I didn't feel like I was excelling very much in any of them. And when I found skating, I found that every time I went there, I got better at it, and that I could do it at my own pace, on my own terms, and really in my own style. And I loved that it was daredevil, it was action-oriented, and I didn't have to listen to a coach. What can I say?
Now, if not skating, what do you think you'd be doing? Because you're so associated with this one sport.
Right. I was always really into technology as a kid and electronics, and I think I would have probably gotten into some sort of video production because I still love doing that. I dabble in it. I do all my own social media, so I put together my own videos for that and stuff with my kids, and that's always been a passion.
You expanded into an empire of sort, right? With videos and all the things. You're in businesses with this.
Yeah, with obviously skateboard brand, clothing, video games. And the YouTube channel, and I never thought it'd be a brand. I mean, when I started skating, it just wasn't a popular thing to do. There was no future, and there was no future that you could look to, or a career to have.
Was it one of ABC's or ESPN sports? You know, that Sunday sports that they do?
Yeah.
Is that where it got its prominence?
Well, I think the X Games had a lot to do with skateboarding.
Yeah, the X Games.
Yeah, X Games started in 1995, but I think it really hit its stride in the late 90s, and definitely had a lot to do with the recognition factor of skateboarding. And I mean, that's where people, saw me do the 900 in competition, and that I can attribute that combined with video games is how people knew my name for years after that.
How many times have you been injured?
Too many to count.
What was the worst?
The worst was breaking my pelvis about 12 years ago.
But you come back and do it again, right?
Yeah, well, I would prefer not to break my pelvis again, but yeah, come back to skating, yeah.
After the break, Tony on his effort to build skate parks across the United States. Plus, we'll talk about skateboarding's entry into the 2020 Olympic Games. Stay with us. My guest is the great Tony Hawk. You have a perfect name, and your name is Hawk, right? You didn't.
It is, yeah.
That name.
Yeah.
What's the derivation? Indian?
I think a bit, yeah, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I'm just thankful that I got it.
What did your father say it is?
Well, he didn't look too deeply into it. It was more my siblings that are trying to figure it out. But definitely, I think there is some Native American in there, though.
All right, the 2020 Games are in Tokyo. Skateboarding is coming to the Games.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to do with that?
I don't know. I don't know it, not directly. I mean, I'm part of the group that's trying to usher it into the Games properly to have the right sanctioning body to host it. But, and personally, my view is it's about time. I feel like skateboarding has come of age. It is way more popular with youth than most Summer Olympic sports. And they need that young viewership in their Summer Games, the way that snowboarding brought that young viewership to their Winter Games.
The competition works how? Judging?
I think the judging will be along the lines of competitions today. I mean, I don't think they can't reinvent the wheel just for the Olympics.
So there will be accredited judges? Do you know
Yeah.
how many nations would participate?
I don't know that as of yet, but honestly, that's the most exciting factor to me, that there will be teams from other nations representing skateboarding. I mean, I think there will literally be an Ethiopian skate team or a Cambodian skate team. Like, that's amazing to me.
Are you going to coach?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you coach?
Maybe. I don't. I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm just excited to. I'm excited to see how it resonates with the international audience.
The average skater is young, right? Isn't he pretty
Average
young?
skater, yeah, I would say it's generally 4 to 14 at this stage, but I don't know. The age limits are being pushed. I mean, by me personally in a lot of ways, but a lot of adults are skating into their adult life and skating with their kids. Some people have come back to it.
Wouldn't you make an appearance? Would you try to compete in the Olympics?
No, I don't think my discipline will be in the Olympics anyway. So
What is your
out.
discipline?
I skate mostly vert, so the big vertical ramps, about 14 feet high, because I started skating pools, and pools basically evolved into what's known as vert. Because when I started skating, you either did freestyle, which was like doing pirouettes and spins on the ground and handstands, or you skated pools. And pools was doing aerials, and those were the cool guys, and I wanted to be cool, so I skated pools.
So now there's a standard skateboard
Yeah,
rink?
pretty much.
You call it a rink?
Ramp.
Okay, tell me about the foundation. How did you start it? What's its purpose?
Well, the foundation, we try to support public skate parks in low-income areas. It started about 14 years ago because I saw basically a proliferation of skate parks in affluent areas coming up, and most of them were designed poorly and were not appreciated by the local communities because they didn't include the skaters in the design process. And when I saw that happening, I thought I could maybe affect the change of bridging the gap between the people who are providing the facilities and the people who are supposed to be skating them, and to get them involved in the process, but more so to get that funding into the needier areas. And the seed money for the foundation came from my appearance on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
How much did you win?
I won $125,000 because my brother knew a question about literature, and I called him.
He is your survivor.
He was my lifeline.
My
yeah.
friend. Did you ever think skateboarding would reach the levels it's reached?
Never. I mean, people ask me all the time, was this your dream? And I thought, this dream didn't exist. I couldn't have dreamt this. I mean, when I was skating, the most you could hope for as a successful skater was to get free equipment from a company and maybe get your picture in the magazine, and then you had to get a job when you turned 18. I mean, that really was that was the chronology of being a pro skater, and to have this kind of success, to be able to do it into my adult life is something I would never imagined, and I'm super thankful for it.
When did it start? When did skateboarding begin?
Well, that's up for debate, but I think in the 60s.
In America?
The folklore is that people took apart roller skates and nailed them, the trucks and wheels, to 2x4s to ride skateboards when the surf was flat. To emulate surfing on the street when the surf was flat. I mean, there are many people that claim this was the first one or this is the first one, but that's pretty much the story.
Are females in the sport?
Yeah, more so than ever.
Does it get the respect it deserves?
I think it does more now, yeah. I think it was mostly stereotyped as being something only outcasts did, I'd say 10, 15 years ago, but nowadays there's more reverence for it. There's more respect for people who are passionate and people who do it as their job, and there are way more women in it. So I think does it get the respect it deserves? In some ways, yeah.
How'd you get the idea to do video games?
I was asked by a developer about doing a game, and he and I started pitching publishing companies and coming up against a lot of flack or a lot of pushback, and luckily having my name out there in the video game world, when something finally did come up, I was the first one they called, and it was Activision called me and said, we're working on a game, we'd like to see if you want to be involved in it. And when I saw their very crude engine with, they had just worked on a game with Bruce Willis, so the character that I first played was Bruce Willis with a gun strapped to his back, skating through a wasteland. But the controls were intuitive, and I just knew with my input and with my connections that we could make something special.
That's a hell of a company, Activision.
They're great, yeah. It changed my life. I mean, that video game changed my life.
You play Tony Hawk? Do you play yourself, and do you play?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I play with myself. I didn't think I'd have to admit that on Larry King, but yeah.
Your last major video game installment was in 2015. We're going to get more?
I hope so. I mean, I hope to continue on and maybe do something that's more mobile or in the VR world. I'm kind of weighing my options right now.
When we return, Tony on the future of skateboarding, and of course a game of If You Only Knew, including the Birdman's funniest fan encounter. That's next on Larry King Now. We're back with the great Tony Hawk and his. How do people get information on the foundation?
TonyHawkFoundation.org.
What's the Ride channel?
The Ride channel is a YouTube channel that we started that's just skate-specific content. It was something that was born out of a website we used to do called Shred or Die that was funded by the Funny or Die people, and we always wanted to be on YouTube, and we were funded by Google for a couple years, and now we're funded by Complex Media, and It's basically your hub for skate content.
Fun to do?
It's fun, yeah. It's really cool.
You think it'll ever be a mainstream sport?
I think that by definition it's a mainstream sport at this point. I mean, more kids start skating than play Little League these days. So isn't that the American pastime?
It sure is. It's not considered an extreme sport anymore?
Well, extreme is a label that they use for sports that are more individual, fringe. Yeah, maybe considered dangerous. I consider it a sport, a lifestyle, an art form. So I don't like to pigeonhole it to extreme or whatever. And I think it's here to stay. I mean, like I said, our foundation's been going for over 14 years. We've helped to fund over 500 parks, and those parks are permanent structures, and they really are fostering a whole new generation.
Okay, let's play a game of If You Only Knew. I just throw some questions at you, Tony.
Okay.
Biggest risk you ever took?
Jumping between two 7-story buildings for MTV.
Proudest accomplishment?
Wow. Well, in the general sense, having a career as a pro skater into my midlife.
Funniest fan encounter?
I had a guy so excited to see me, and I was walking into a urinal at an airport, and he wanted to shake my hand while I was going to the bathroom.
Trick you wish you would have attempted and never did?
Trick I wish I would have attempted, never did. Frontside 720. That would have been nice to figure out.
Skateboarding hero growing up?
Eddie Elguera. He was the most progressive.
Young skater we should look out for?
Oh, wow. There are so many. Evan Doherty, Asher Bradshaw.
Are there minority skaters?
Many, yes.
Favorite athlete outside of the skateboarding world?
Probably Kelly Slater, because I feel like he and I have the same sort of trajectory of our careers. We're both sort of in our older ages, but still trying to push it.
What would make a good skateboarder? What would you look for? A height? A certain height?
Yeah, someone that is willing to take risks, someone that has a lot of style, and someone that has discipline. Naturally
athletic?
Maybe, maybe not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd say, someone that would be really good at skating would be like a Lindsey Vonn. Someone that isn't afraid to take big risks.
If you could take one person from history out to lunch, who would it be?
Well, I'd like to take my dad passed away in 1995, so I'd like to take him out to lunch these days and show him how ridiculous everything became, and he would never, ever believe this would have happened.
What did he do?
He was in the Navy in World War II, and then he started a music import business in San Diego, and he actually founded the first National Skateboard Association in the early 80s.
Wow. If not skating, what do you think you'd have done?
I think I would have probably done something in computers or video editing.
Person you'd like to switch places with for a day?
Howard Stern.
Best piece of advice you ever got?
Enjoy the ride.
Worst piece of advice you ever got?
You should sign that contract.
Favorite place to skateboard?
My own private ramp in San Diego.
At your home?
It's at my office.
Tony Hawk in 10 years?
Home a little bit more. Proud father, possibly grandfather. Ugh, really?
Do your kids skateboard?
They all do, yeah. Yeah, my oldest son is a pro skater. He's 23. Riley Hawk, yeah.
In our final moments, Tony Hawk takes your questions. Don't click away. For more information on the Tony Hawk Foundation, it's TonyHawkFoundation.org. And we have some social media questions, Tony. Albert Marty 1 on Twitter. What 3 factors do you account for your success in life?
Perseverance, my embracing of challenges, and my longevity.
DK Rio, worst injury you ever suffered?
My worst injuries was breaking my pelvis and fracturing my skull and breaking my thumb all in one fell swoop.
How long were you laid up?
I couldn't walk for about 6 weeks, and then I started skating a couple months later.
At Dennis Middle to 5. Back in the day, did you have skater girl groupies?
Not really. Skating was not established back then. So basically, the only girls around were the sisters of other skaters.
Are there groupies now?
Yeah, I feel like skating has come of age in that sense. That the younger generation, definitely, they're rock stars.
At Turtle Ascot, how do you keep in shape at your age? Do you have a special workout?
I don't. I just skate as frequently as I can and surf sometimes and snowboard and just try to stay active the way that I know how.
At Skate C. Williams, what do you see when you're spinning through a 900?
You're just looking for the landing zone. That's all you're looking for. And sometimes it comes up slower than you anticipate, and those are the ones that go wrong. But
are you nervous when you're doing it?
Yeah, always nervous. I mean, there's always that risk that something can go really badly, but you have to approach it with confidence.
Did that bad injury occur during the 900?
No, it actually occurred on a full loop ramp, like a Hot Wheels track, and it's something I had done before, but that day I had the wrong approach.
Did you knew it was going to happen right before it happened?
I knew something was a little off, but I didn't think it would go so bad.
Hurt a lot?
Oh, yes, very much, yes.
At Skate C. Williams on Twitter also asks, how hard was it for you to land your second one this past summer?
It was harder than I anticipated. It took longer than the first one I made, and there was.
How many difference in years?
Well, the first time I made it, that particular instance, it took about 11 tries. This one took I think about 20, 25. And there was a point where I was exhausted and I was about to give up.
John P. McLaughlin on Twitter, how important is the board?
Well, it's like Lance Armstrong said, it's not about the bike, right? It's important. It's you know, that it's sturdy, that it suits your style. But it's not going to make or break a skater. You know, it's really more about your own journey.
Do you design a board?
I do, yeah. Why we have a whole line, Birdhouse skateboards.
What do skateboards cost?
Well, if you get a complete that is of professional quality, trucks and wheels and everything, it'll go for about $150 to $180.
And you're looking for what? Top quality wood?
Top quality wood, yeah. Sturdy trucks, good bearings, a good formula on the wheels.
And Zachary Wass on Facebook, what do you think about skateboarding culture today compared to the 90s?
Well, I think it's much more in the mainstream consciousness. I think that more people recognize it and embrace it, especially non-skaters. I think the biggest shift is that parents today encourage their kids to skate. And that was not the case in my day.
Yeah, your day was don't do it.
Don't do it, yeah. Luckily, my parents were supportive, but all of my friends' parents did not want them to skate.
I'm sure you'll be in Tokyo in 4 years.
Maybe in some context, yes.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
Big thanks to my guest, Tony Hawk. Be sure to visit TonyHawk.com to see more about all of my guest ventures, including the Tony Hawk Foundation. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Kings Things, and I'll see you next time.